Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Soft Power Project. Today, I want to debunk this phrase give people benefit of the doubt, especially when it comes to relationships. And today, I'm going to talk about friendships, but I think it works in all relationships, especially when it comes to adult friendships. Now that we are in our 30s, 40s, and onwards, I don't really think this phrase works anymore. And I'm just so sick and tired of hearing that phrase and basically allowing myself to override my gut feeling, my intuition. And I think this phrase actually caused a lot of harm when it comes to self-trust. So I'm going to give you guys 4 situations that may seem sometimes subtle, may seems not too bad when it comes to choosing peace over chaos in a friendship. And when I talk about choosing peace over chaos, maybe going no contact would be one of the outcome. But I think a lot of times it really depends on the situation. So maybe not replying as soon as possible, or simply saying no to an outing, or anything like that that actually makes sense to you. So, situation number 1, when you should choose peace over chaos in friendship, would be this friend uses your weakness against you. And I'm not really talking about stab you in the back, that sort of thing. Obviously, I think that it is a really good example to just say bye-bye to this friend. But I'm talking about bringing up things that obviously would trigger you, and they know that. Maybe it's money, maybe it's relationship, maybe it's work, maybe it's just something they know that you're dealing with and it's really hard, but they wanted to bring up anyway. I think a lot of times we try to find excuses for friends. Oh, they're just having a bad day. Oh, I think I'm having a bad day. Or maybe I didn't take it very well. Or maybe I didn't understand what they said specifically. But it's really we overriding our gut feeling and our intuition. So I wanted to say, please lean in to the discomfort and try to understand yourself why you feel uncomfortable and don't discredit yourself. Situation number 2, it's when your friend cannot stop complaining or gossiping about others. I feel like I've seen this way too much, and especially growing up. I often hang out with my mom and her friends. I dealt with adult really, really well when I was a little kid because I was always really calm and I don't make any noise. And I could sit there and have tea with the aunties and my mom's friends and for hours and hours. What I witnessed was that they would consistently gossip or simply just complain about their spouses, about their partners. And I was told that that was the way it is. And that's what women do. And now I think about it, I think, yeah, that's the way it was before. When women had less financial security, they didn't have money of their own. So leaving a situation is going to be really hard. And I think without financial power, you feel quite powerless. And it's really easy to assume the victim role in the relationship. So at that time, gossiping, complaining may just be really, really normal to them. That's what they do. But I think in this day and age, the situation is completely different. While we may see a lot of our role models or people we grew up with modeling that behaviors, that just simply doesn't work anymore. However, I do know a lot of my friends like to do that during coffees or any kind of meal. They love to talk about someone else and bring them up, talk about their lives. And what happened is that they're doing that because they're avoiding talking about themselves. There's something about them they feel so insecure about, they don't want to talk about. They just wanted to focus on someone else because it's so much easier. But the thing is, obviously, you're going to feel absolutely drained in that kind of situation. I think I had a couple of friends I absolutely had to pull back from because every time I would go on a coffee or whatever with her, and all she talks about are her friends. I don't even know who they are. She talks about friends who also got divorced because I got divorced and also going through hard times with their exes due to custody battle or a similar situation. And I would be sitting there thinking, how does that have anything to do with me? And obviously, every single divorce, every single custody battle, or every single relationship, it's unique and different. And I would feel so drained and tired from it. And I always feel like I needed to take a nap. What happened is that I always knew that she would probably talk about my stories. Once she gathered my stories from having coffee with me, she would then use my story as another talking point on her other girlfriend's date. So I know this is really, really common. And yeah, sometimes I even participated in that because it was a lot easier to talk about someone else than talking about myself, especially when I was going through something dark. But ultimately, I hated doing that. I just felt so awful and I felt just drained, exhausted from doing that, from talking about someone else. It doesn't even matter if it's a good or bad. So I think this is a red flag. It may means that there's something going on with you that you need to deal with. There's something going on with them that they need to deal with. No matter what, this is not a good friendship situation. Situation number 3, it's when your friend is quietly monitoring you instead of supporting you, like actually supporting you. Let's say you have a social media account and you're really putting yourself out there and your friend has been watching you on your story because you can see, but they don't like it, they don't repost it, they don't comment it. They pretend they don't exist when that really, really matters to you. Or in other situations, such as simply they would gather your story from your mutual friends. They will ask about you and they will quietly monitoring you, but they don't act on it. They don't do anything. They're just kind of quietly there. And I think this is result from, again, the insecurity on their part. Maybe what you're doing really mirror that insecurity. It's telling them that they are not doing something that they should be doing. Maybe your bravery to put yourself out there online is what they're jealous of because they also wanted to do that, but they just haven't found that courage yet. So instead of digging in and finding that courage for themselves, it's a lot easier for them to judge you. But they're quietly monitoring you. Again, I don't think this is a good friendship to start with. Situation number 4, it's when your friend come to you because they know something bad happened to you. not when there's something good happened. I had a personal story, and it was quite painful for me for many years, but I've since then kind of grew out of, and I think I completely understand why that friendship no longer works anymore. So I grew up with this girl. She lived in my neighborhood. We were friends since elementary school. So we were friends for a very long time. And I mean, for a period of time, even though I was studying abroad from the age of 14 all the way to like in my 20s, every time I'd come back to Taiwan, we would hang out just for like a coffee or something like that. And I really see her as my really good friend. So in our late 20s, we both got married and we both had kid. And just like a couple years apart. So when she got married, she moved away to another part of the city. But then she would always come back to visit her parents or just play in this neighborhood with her kids. And I would see her posting the photos on her Facebook afterwards. And I would always message her or leave a comment saying, hey, let me know when you're over because I'm literally a block away from you. And I would do that again and again and again. And she would always kind of blew me off and say, okay, sure, 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 next time. Or she just didn't say anything at all. So I mean, at first I really did not understand. So I kept trying. And eventually I stopped trying. And then I started to put puzzle pieces together where I knew she probably felt very uncomfortable and triggered by my situation because she had to work. She had a baby. She had to work to earn money to pay for mortgages. And I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. Was it because I was so deliriously happy? No. And I think everyone here knows that. I just thought I had to do what I had to do, be a stay-at-home mom and be as devoted as possible and never go outside of work because that would be irresponsible. So that was my mindset. But obviously to her, that means I didn't have to work. I didn't have that financial pressure and she did. So I think she felt uncomfortable looking at me, talking to me, and it really made her feel maybe not enough. And again, I am just putting the puzzle pieces together. And I completely understand that actually, now that I look at it. I'm not saying she should blew me off, but I could completely understand where that triggers come from. And again, she didn't really know the full story. I was not happy at all. I was deeply depressed. I often had to practice detachment to live in a different world. Therefore, I could survive during that time. Like being a stay-at-home mom, I love my daughter, but that was the darkest time. Not just being a stay-at-home mom, but it was my marriage. But again, she didn't know, and she assumed then that friendship no longer exists. So fast forward years after, I got divorced, and I think she heard that from our mutual friends. Then one day she came and said, hey, Sherry, how are you doing? And honestly, at the time, I just knew I'm not going to talk to her. I'm not going to share with you the bad days, my depression, how I got divorced, all the juicy stories. So you get to feel better about yourself. I just knew that was not going to be okay. So I said, yeah, I'm okay. And that was it. That was the end of that conversation. And I just knew I never regretted end that friendship completely because it did not make me feel good. And I had to trust my instinct. So here it is. I think giving someone benefit of the doubt worked when it comes to their kids, the growing, they are experiencing different things. I just don't think it works for adults anymore. They know what they're doing. If they want to, they would. You hear that all the time. If they want to, they would. If they wanted to keep this friendship, they would. If they wanted to support you, they would. If they wanted to like that post, comment, or repost, it doesn't, take a second. They would. You don't need to give them excuses anymore. And I'm particularly tired of hearing people saying, oh, maybe she's just, or he's just stupid, or they don't quite understand, or maybe it's their language issue they don't understand. Honestly, I think that is, I'm just going to say that word, that's bullshit. Because if they could, they would. If they wanted to, they would. Stop looking for excuses for them, for their behavior, because you got to trust your instinct. Don't override your instinct. If it feels off, if it feels drained, if it feels like a soft pink red flag, it's a red flag. So do whatever it takes to hold your peace, to prioritize your peace over chaos. Maybe that's no contact. Maybe that's just simply, you don't have to read the message right away. You don't have to reply right away. You don't even have to say yes. You can simply say no. The options are yours. All right. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode and let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you guys next time.